Hello, welcome back to Off the Post. In today's video, we'll be discussing why Evan Guessand is a smart signing for Aston Villa. But before that, as always, please like, comment, subscribe. It's very much appreciated and it goes a long way in helping me build a small community on my channel. We've recently just hit 152 subscribers and I want to say a massive thank you for all you guys showing your support on my videos, all the likes and the comments on social media as well. It definitely doesn't go unnoticed, and yeah, I just want to say a massive thank you once again. But let's get straight into the video, shall we? Okay, Aston Villa have agreed a £26 million deal to sign Ivory Coast striker Evan Guessand from Nice in League One. Okay, now for me, when you speak about this guy, he just came off the back of his best season in goals and assists. Okay, he scored 12 goals and got 8 assists last season, making that a combined 20 goals and assists of the season. Okay, now for me, there was only 3 other players in League One that got higher goals and assists last season, in the likes of Osman Dembele and Mason Greenwood, getting both 26 goal contributions each. And I want to say Arnold Calimendo, hopefully I've said his name right, the Rennes striker, he got 21 goals and assists as well, combined. So obviously that makes Evan Guessand 4th on that list, getting 20. And when you speak about his, goals and assists over recent seasons, it is quite low compared to other strikers in that league, but he just came off the best season of his life, okay, of his career, and at the age of 24, I think he's ready made for that move to the Premier League. He was highly touted, he was highly scouted by other clubs in the likes of Crystal Palace, West Ham, Tottenham, so, it was looking like he was going to get a big move this summer, and for me, I feel like he's chosen the right club in Aston Villa, in Unai Emery, because he can play across the whole front three, okay? Yes, he's mainly a striker, but he can play left wing, he can play right wing, and he can also play as an attacking midfielder as well. So it's pretty much up to Unai Emery where he wants to play him. For me, I reckon it will be a backup striker, so Ollie Watkins, because we definitely do need somebody in there. We do have Darnell Marland, who's been lining up in pre-season, by the way, getting like 2 goals and 3 assists or something crazy like that. Scored a decent little goal against Roma the other day as well. So for me, I do like Evan Guessand. When you speak about Ivory Coast strikers, right, we did have one back in the day in Jonathan Kodjia, back in the Championship days, didn't we? So if he can be anything like him, we'll have a half-decent player on our hands, okay? He'll be a reliable striker like Jonathan Kodjia was back in the day in the Championship. And you know what I'm saying? When you think about the phenomenal forwards that Unai Emery has managed over his career in the likes of Ollie Watkins, Aubameyang, Cavani, Moreno, Danjuma even, maybe Evan Guessand can be added to that list, because I really do feel like this player is the type of player that Unai Emery will absolutely adore, and I feel like a good season for Evan Guessand would probably be, I want to say 12 to 15 goal and assist contributions. I don't want to go too heavy, too crazy and say he has to repeat 20 goals and assists again next season, because I think it's just unrealistic to expect that straight away in the Premier League. But if he can get 10 to 15 goal contributions, I feel like that'd be a fantastic season from him, especially when you consider Ollie Watkins will potentially score another 20 goal season. You've got Morgan Rogers, who will get probably against 10 to 15. You've got Darnell Marland, who can probably get 10 goals and assists. You've got Leon Bailey potentially as well in there. You've got Jacob Ramsey, who can score goals. Adding Evan Guessand to this list, I really do feel like it's a good piece of business from the club. When you speak about his key attributes, okay, he's 6'1", he's very dominant in the air. He can score headers, he can score with both of his feet, okay. He scored more goals on his right foot, of course, but he can also score on his left. He's got 80% aerial duel with 1, okay, and he's got 66% defensive actions. So from that point of view, he's a very defensive-minded attacker. He likes to win the ball back high up the pitch when he's pressing forward in front of goal. So for me, that's exactly what Aston Villa need, because that's one area you could highlight where they've sort of been lacking. When they go to pressing the forward lines, they just don't win the ball enough in the opposition defensive box, if you like. So I feel like if Evan Guessand can come in and do that, whether that's in the second striker behind Ollie Watkins, whether that's on the right or left wing, I feel like that will sort of help, Aston Villa sort of create those counter-attacking options, counter-attacking sort of style of play to sort of win the ball back and potentially go on and score a goal. We just don't know. I think he can suit like Unai Emery's system really well, because we can see him sort of dropping the form to create that box midfield, okay, receiving the ball between the lines and sort of driving and carrying the ball forward, a little bit similar like what Morgan Rogers does on that left-hand side, or more recently on the right-hand side in the Premier League. So I really do feel like having 2 ball carriers in the sort of on either wing will sort of help Aston Villa, sort of dominate on either side of the box, okay? But now for me, I would like to see him more centrally as a sort of a second striker, sort of linking up play with Ollie Watkins and sort of creating goals for Ollie Watkins. But then again, you've also got the likes of Buendia in there. No, we shouldn't be sleeping on Buendia this season because he had a half decent game against Roma as well, scoring a decent free kick as well. So he could be involved this season. So it really does depend where Unai Emery wants to start Evan Guessand. But for me, I really do like this signing. I think the only problem with him is his passing, because when we look at some of the passing stats, okay, on FootMob just quickly, yes, he's got 8 assists. That's 91.1% compared to League One strikers and League One attackers last season. When you look at successful passes, okay, he's only got 413, which is 58.9%, which is more than half compared to other League One strikers and League One attackers, okay, which is a little bit, which is all right, but he definitely does need to get better in that sort of area. His pass accuracy is only 77.2% as well, so which is 34.4% in total compared to League One attackers. One area of improvement would sort of been which sort of been aimed at Evan Guessand to sort of need to improve is, he's such a great, carrier of the ball. He drives forward and sort of attacks those defenders. He's good at dribbling, all that sort of stuff. But it's his decision making. It's his that final pass to that forward, to that left winger, to that right winger. Like he sort of sort of makes a mistake in that sort of area that he needs to improve upon to sort of get it better and sort of cut that out in his game to sort of make him a bit of like a world-class talent, if you like, okay? That's one area I feel like Unai Emery will sort of cut out of his game straight away. Don't get me wrong, it might take him a few months to sort of adapt to how Unai Emery wants to play, but I feel like Evan Guessand is such a smart signing because he offers versatility in so many areas of the pitch. He can play left wing, he can play right wing, he can play second striker behind Ollie Watkins, he can play as a striker as well if Ollie Watkins, gets injured or misses a few games or, wants to sit out in those cup competitions. But yeah, it just adds another option in there, and it's really interesting to see because, don't get me wrong, when you speak about Aston Villa's season, it was looking all doom and gloom in a sense of we didn't really sign any first team influential players. It's really surprising to see what one signing can do to your season, because all of a sudden, Aston Villa fans are going into the season so happy, especially if you look at pre-season now, because we're looking fantastic, okay? Especially against Roma, winning 4-0 against Roma, okay? You had the likes of Ollie Watkins scoring, Buendia, Jacob Ramsey, Darnell Marlon. It's looking like we can attack this Premier League season and go again to try and get into those Champions League positions. It's really good to see what one signing can do for this Aston Villa team. We are probably 1 or 2 players short. I think we probably are a centre-back short. Hopefully we can get a loan deal over the line because we can't go in the season with 3 first-team centre-backs. Yes, we've got Bogard, who's looked very impressive last season and he's looked good in pre-season. But for me, I feel like he's just a little bit lightweight in that centre-back position. So we probably could do another centre-back in there and maybe an upgrade on right-back as well. I would like to see somebody else get in there ahead of Matty Cash. For me, I've said it a few years now, I just don't know whether he's sort of developed enough under Unai Emery to sort of, kick us on to that another level. And I just don't know whether we could upgrade in that position. Then again, saying that, I don't know if there's enough right-backs out there at the moment you could say that's an upgrade on Matty Cash, because he's a half-decent player. It's just, I feel like he lacks a little bit of defensive awareness, and also when he does go forward, I don't know if he offers enough going forward either. So it's a little bit of a difficult one with Matty Cash, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But other than that, I could probably see, 1 or 2 players leaving now for Aston Villa. Jacob Ramsey's been heavily rumoured to leave the club. Again, for me, I feel like it's a good signing for West Ham. However, I don't know why Jacob Ramsey would want to go to West Ham. It's sort of a step down, because Aston Villa are sort of fighting for those European competitions. They're fighting for those Champions League spaces. And at West Ham, you're not going to be doing that. And more recently, John McGinn's been linked away to move to Newcastle. Again, I don't think he's going to move to Newcastle because they're in very similar positions, aren't they? Fighting for those top 6 positions. And I feel like at Aston Villa, you know, he's been one of the main influential players ever since the Championship days, ever since getting promoted from the Championship. And he's Mr. Aston Villa, isn't he, John McGinn? He's the club captain. Why would you want to leave? Everything's there for you to, you know, become an absolute Aston Villa legend. For me, he's already a cult hero, so I don't want him to leave because he's our club captain and it will sort of mess up our season for me, at least. And but one that I could see leaving probably would be like a Leon Bailey. Again, he sort of had a stop-start career at Aston Villa. I feel like his first 1 or 2 seasons were very good, but then again last season he sort of had a bit of a downer season where he didn't really do much. He had a few injuries which sort of like didn't really help his season either. So we'll have to wait and see if he gets sold or not. Then again, there's only like what I want to say 2 to 3, maybe 4 weeks left of the transfer window at this point. I want to say what, a week and a half. There's like 9 days left until the, you know, Premier League starts. So it really does depend if, you know, somebody can come in for a Leon Bailey. I think he's been linked to a move to a Fenerbahce or Galatasaray, so we'll have to wait and see what happens there. I'm not too sure if he will leave though, to be honest. But yeah, this is where I'm going to end the video, okay? Let's end on some questions. Do you think Evan Guessand is a smart signing for Aston Villa? Where do you think Unai Emery will want to play Evan Guessand in the Premier League? Do you think it's good for the versatility of the side? Do you think he'll do well on that second striker position, left winger position or right winger position? Is he very similar to like the likes of a Morgan Rogers, both being ball carrying wingers? Yeah, he can score goals as well with his head. For me, having a player who can head the ball, who can win headers, who can win their duels, their aerial duels, is another option in there, because we've seen it last season where they, you know, points it up to the strikers. And Ollie Watkins, don't get me wrong, he wins a few of them, but there are times where he doesn't win them as well because he's a bit on the smaller side. So maybe having a player who's big and strong in that forward position might be able to, you know, keep Aston Villa on the forward foot, if you might like. But yeah, those are all my questions, and I just want to say before that, as always, please like, comment, subscribe. It's very much appreciated. And yeah, like I mentioned at the start of the video, we've recently just hit 152 subscribers. I just want to say a massive thank you for you guys doing that, okay? And our next aim is 175 subscribers. If we can do that anytime soon, I would absolutely love it, okay? And I'll be absolutely over the moon. So yeah, hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.